Good morning, multipliers. How are you today? Michelle, you doing good?
I'm doing good.
This is my sister, Michelle.
Hi.
She's been referenced in several videos, and we're on vacation. We're in Branson, Missouri. We're on like a brief, really, I don't know if we call it a vacation full-fledged.
It's a mini-cation.
A mini-cation here in Branson, and we're hanging out, and so we were talking about things I was going to do with my dad. Couldn't really figure out a great idea, so we're doing Michelle. Michelle, what are we talking about today?
What does it mean to be a Gibson?
Now, actually, you guys, we're still getting acquainted with each other because we've obviously done a lot of videos, but now we're getting this more personal side of multimedia. And so Michelle and I are going to go over some of the things that make a Gibson, and in turn, hopefully, as you watch our show, maybe will become a trait of a multiplier. Who knows? You know. So Michelle, start us off.
Well, the first thing you have to know about Gibsons is there are certain Gibson-isms.
There are.
So one famous Gibsonism is Gibsons suck it up. So it doesn't really matter what's going on. You just suck it up and get through it.
You popped your kneecap off, just stick it back in and keep working. You know?
It doesn't matter if you're dying.
Nope.
You don't go to the ER unless Dad can't resuscitate
I remember, there's been so many, I remember when I was like a junior in high school, I was a sophomore, and I was outside, I think you were away at college, and I got bitten by one of our dogs so bad it went like practically to the bone on my finger. You probably can't make that in the camera, it's too dark. But
super glue.
yeah, well, I go inside and Dad's like, it's okay, it's alright, it's no big deal. Mom's like freaking out, of course. And as he does, Dad goes to touch it and the whole finger goes whoop, 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 whoop. And Dad goes, alright, we'll go to the doctor. Not to the ER. Not enough. I busted my face open, like the nose, the guy's teeth went into my nose.
You did go to the ER.
I did go to the ER, but there was a lot of deliberation. And once we got Dad home, Dad just goes, I could have done that with some butterfly strips. So that is definitely a big one. There's Gibson words too is another one. There's certain phrases that are just purely Gibsons. One of the big ones is cotton picking. That's how you know when Larry Gibson's mad. And if you hear me say cotton picking, I'm usually a little bit upset or something.
That's true. That's true. We also say mind over matter.
We do say mind over matter.
If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
There's several Gibson's phrases, but I think cotton picking's the one that sticks out the most in my mind.
Yeah, we heard that. You know, as a kid, you knew, ooh, okay.
If Dad said cotton picking, you best back up. It was always fun where you'd see Daddy be working on something too, and all of a sudden you hear cotton picking, and you just knew instantaneously.
Frustration level has now come up.
We've reached it. We're there.
Cotton picking. Yep. So let's see, what else do we have? We sometimes say it's a Gibson thing, you wouldn't understand.
We have shirts that say, I've worn one, and I think I've worn it in some video. I don't know if I've worn it in a multi-mornings yet.
It's really true though. We have a strange sense of humor. And so sometimes you just have to be born a Gibson to understand. That's also something we say. Like my mom was not born a Gibson, she married in. So there are things that we find hilariously funny. Mom does not.
In fact, we find it becomes more funny some of the stuff that Mom does not find funny, i.e. anything gross at the dinner table.
Yes.
You can get Mom going so incredibly heavily with some nasty stuff. I mean, so honestly, I'm gonna have to do it. I mean, I haven't done like a really gross food eating challenge yet. Like we did but we're gonna do one. Maybe we can film Mom's reaction to it or something.
There you go. There you go.
That would be good.
It also makes it more funny because she does not find it funny.
No,
as Daniel said,
it's not funny. That is not funny at all.
And that ups our enjoyment. She also does not find it funny when a member of the family, which is all of the male members of the family, pass gas. Nope. Which makes it more funny.
But it's hilarious. I mean, I'm sorry. The most rudimentary form of humor is a toot. Let's face it. But no, we definitely have a lot of Gibsonisms. They go deep. I mean, I think one of and she, I guess, technically wasn't born a Gibson, but Grandma Gibson was. Some of the stuff she would do.
She's got the Foster. There's that Foster Gibson.
It's a blend. See, that's the thing. We have Foster Gibsons. I mean, you know, and those people, they molded together to make this strange.
It's the bloodline. I mean, like, you know, there's like pedigrees of you know, animals that you want, whether it's dogs, horses, whatever. You know, it's too bad for y'all that you're not Gibsons.
But don't worry, we love you still, and we're glad you're watching.
So you have something to aspire to, because we're a special breed of humans. We also have a saying called Gibsons like their meats and their sweets.
Yep.
So we know how to cook our food because we really like food.
We do.
There is always meat. There is always meat in our meals, and there is always sweet things in our house to eat.
It is like okay. So Judah is a great example of this. Well, and you may not be like this either. You might find this weird. I can sit there and I like to eat sweet things and drink a soda and stuff like that. And I remember as a kid, one of my favorite things to do was I would take and eat Oreos or something like that, and then I would take and wash it down with the soda, and it's like dipping it in milk almost. I know it sounds gross, but I love the flavors of it. Judah will sit there and watch me eat something sweet and do something. I mean, literally just grosses her out to no end. But yeah, we sweets and meats are the two things that we can they are nonstop, constant.
Yes. So that's a snapshot into parts of how you
Being
are a Gibson. There are certain characteristics that are just part of being born a Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
If you marry into the Gibson clan, then we work on, getting you those characteristics.
There's a training wheels, we get you there first.
Yeah.
We start you off, you're like the new kid at school, and we get you up to speed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But it takes time. Mom, she's been here for 30 something years, and she's still
We're still working on her.
Still, she's one of those classic cases of just what, we'll keep working, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's just a brief snapshot into who we are, guys. I hope it makes you know us a little bit better, understand what makes me how I am.
Because if you've not noticed, he's weird. That's also part of being
That is a big part of being a Gibson, is you are very strange. That's part of the whole,
But not in a creeper way.
No. You won't ever see me, standing on the other side of a window breathing very heavy. That's not me. But I'm more of we were at Young Christians Weekend. It was in Branson actually a few weeks ago. I told my youth because they wouldn't dance. If they didn't dance, I start messing with it. Going with music, like they're having a good time. I was gonna jump up in front of the stadium. All these people start twerking.
You would have done it too.
I would have done it, but I mean that's the level of social embarrassment is not necessarily, as long as we can get a laugh out of it, it's okay.
Right.
But yeah, well, that gives you a good idea of where to start off with. And I think if you have questions about further Gibsonisms, maybe we should write a book someday about Gibsonisms for you guys.
#1 New York Times.
Absolutely.
Bestseller.
Second only to the Bible.
Yes. I mean, we can't surpass the Bible because that's inerrant. Gibsonisms aren't quite inerrant.
One step.
We do have to revise them from time to time.
So, all right, well, that's enough Gibsonisms. Let's throw your thoughts down below, guys. Thank you, Michelle. And we are going to move on to our focus. And we're going to hone in a little bit right now. All right, we're just going to bring it in. All right, so we're honing in, Shell, down to the focus. And today we're kind of we were joking. We're talking about Gibsonisms, things to make a Gibson. It'd be really good to talk about things that make the marks of it, like a true Christian. Like, what's it look like to be a Christian? The verse I found and I was Romans chapter 12. It's verse 9, and it kind of goes down 9 through, it's 9 through 21 technically, the whole section is this, but it's literally in my Bible titled Marks of a True Christian, but I've marked up a lot of it. But just the first snapshot of it says, "Let your love be genuine, abhor what is evil, hold fast to what is good, love one another in brotherly affection, outdoing each other and showing honor. Do not be slothful in zeal, but be fervent in spirit. Serve the Lord, rejoice, be hopeful in tribulation, be constant in prayer, and contribute to the needs of the saints, and seek to show hospitality." I think that's a really beautiful snapshot to me of there's so much fakeness in the world nowadays.
There is a lot of fakeness.
And I think that's been cast so heavily onto Christians, in that we're fake. We're sitting here joking about Gibsons and stuff, but the thing is, a mark of a true Christian is somebody who just loves when it's not always easy to love. And I think we've lost that so much in so much self-gain. And I think that's one of the first things is that when you see somebody, and I'll notice it a lot when you're out and about. I don't know if you feel the same way. I'll bump into somebody and you'll start talking to me I know this guy's a Christian. Right. I know this. You can sense it. And I think that's a huge thing. And then just to realize it's just a poor was evil and to hold fast was good. I mean, there's that line in the sand that's drawn too, to just this is good, this is bad. Right. And I think as Christians, we're never going to reach that perfect level. It's not possible. But to really understand and to want to toe that line and understand and say, I don't want to go to that place.
Right. So what I picked out to talk about is really similar to what Daniel was just talking about. In Hebrews, there's a lot of things that talk about our faith and what Christians are supposed to be doing. And there's even the heroes of the faith are talked about in Hebrews. But in Hebrews chapter 3, there's a part that talks about the Christian life, and it kind of talks about how we're like a house. So we look at verse 6, it says, "But Christ is faithful over God's house as a son. We are his house, if indeed we hold fast to our confidence and our boasting in our hope." And then verse 7 says, "Therefore, as the Spirit says, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as in rebellion, but on the day of testing in the wilderness, where your fathers put me to the test and saw my works for 40 years. And it goes on and says a lot of other things. And then we look down at verse 14, it says, "For we have come to share in Christ, if indeed we hold to our original confidence firm to the end." So a lot of, if you look at all of chapter 3, which we're not going to read, but it talks about how we are supposed to give glory to the builder of the house, which would be the Father, and to the Son, who is the person who's over the house, and we're the servants, right? And we're living in the house, which would be the church. And so when we listen to the Father's voice and we do the things that we're called to do and those characteristics of the Christian, which Daniel just read, then we're able to do the things that the Christian life is about, because we're living exactly how we're supposed to live, and we get that fulfillment, and we have that joy, and we have those things that drive us to do what we're supposed to do.
And that peace too, I think, is a big thing. And I think that's, you see moments, we've been talking about it a lot lately. I talked about my job situation, how we have that peace through it, even though it should be this moment of really scariness and stuff like that. There's a peace in knowing you're walking in God's path and your way. I think the marks of a Christian is that you come in and there's all these different things, and we realize that God's in the driver's seat, and that a Christian, when you see them and you talk to them and you see that, we acknowledge who the builder of the house is, who the pilot of my life is. And I think when we do that, these things become easier, and maybe you think to yourself like, man, this seems so out of reach for me, so far from what I can even possibly achieve.
Right.
But that's the thing of saying, I can't achieve it. It's not possible for me to achieve it. The point is, the marks of a true Christian are something we are supposed to work towards. It doesn't come easy. It's not like one day you wake up, you say some magic prayer, and all of a sudden you're the best Christian in the world. No, it takes time and pain and sorrow. But it also talks here, it says to rejoice and be patient in tribulation, is what it says in mine too. And that in those hard moments, those hard times, God's in control, and that's where you get that peace, that unspeakable peace. That's just it's just something you get from that.
Right.
Joy.
And a lot of chapter 3, what it talks about is how when we come on those tribulations, you do have two choices. You can either listen to the voice of the Lord, or you can harden your hearts. And if we are like the children if we're like the Hebrews in the time where they left Egypt and they're wandering in the wilderness. Well, they wandered in the wilderness because they hardened their hearts and they were rebellious. They didn't trust. So your choice is to trust and to walk in faith and to do the things that you're supposed to do, or to wander in the wilderness because you hardened your heart. You were rebellious.
Yep.
So that verse 14 that I talked about, it says, "For we have come to share in Christ, if indeed we hold to our original confidence firm to the end." That original confidence is your salvation.
Absolutely. And I think that's just the pivotal thing, guys. I think it's so important that these things it's something we set in our hearts, and we're going to work towards, we're going to go to, and we never stop. We don't harden our hearts to the challenges, and we push forward, and we have that heart of worship and pain in the offering, that God will bring us through it. And when you find that and you work towards that and understand that it's not going to be good always, that's where you really rise above and you see that true joy coming from. So fantastic. Anything else in closing, Michelle?
No, I don't think so.
Guys, I appreciate so much you guys watching the show. If you like this and you want to see more of it, make sure you hit that like button. Let us know you like, Michelle being on the show here, what you thought about in the comments down below, where God's doing in your life right now. Is there any crazy Gibsonisms in your life, guys? And I appreciate you watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I'm Dan. This is Shell. God bless, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.